Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video we will be dealing with self and personality part 3. To we will start with the topic called behavioral approach. This approach focuses on learning of stimulus. This and does not give importance to the internal dynamics of behavior. The behavioralists believe in data which they feel are definable, observable and measurable. Personality is the response of an individual as a sample for advancing generalization. For most behavioralists, the structural unit of personality is response, as each response is a behavior which is emitted to satisfy a specific need. The concepts are not properly defined in case of behavioral approach and is difficult to submit them to scientific testing. Freud has only used males as the prototype of all human personality development and overlooked females for their experiences and perspectives. We may recall few different learning principles that involve the use of stimuli, responses, and reinforcement in different ways, where the theories of classical condition by Pavlov, instrumental conditioning by Skinner, and observational learning by Bandura are well known. Observational learning theory also emphasizes social learning based on observation and limitation of others. Cultural approach. This approach attempts to understand personality in relation to the features of ecological and cultural environment. It considers personality as an adaptation of individuals or the group to the demand of their ecology and culture. A group's economic maintenance system plays a very much vital role in the origin of cultural and behavioral variations. The climatic conditions, for example, the nature of terrain, of habitat and availability of food determines people's settlement patterns, social structures, division of labor and other features such as child rearing practices. These elements constitute a child's overall learning environment, like skills, abilities, behavioral styles, and value priorities are viewed as strongly linked to these features. Humanistic approach theories are mainly in response to Freud's theory. Carl Rogers and Abraham Maslow have particularly contributed to the development of humanistic perspective on personality. This theory emphasizes the personal worth of the individual, the centrality of human values, and the creative, active nature of human beings. This approach is optimistic and focuses on noble human capacity to overcome hardship, pain, and despair. To focus on humanistic approach by Carl Rogers, it is fully functioning upon individual where there is fulfillment, and is a motivating force for personality development where people try to express their capabilities, potentials and talent to the fullest extent possible, where we have few assumptions while taking this into consideration. It is goal oriented and worthwhile, and people will almost and always choose adaptive self actualizing behavior. People are constantly engaged in the process of actualizing their true self, that is their ideal self is the self that a person would like to be. For example, correspondence between ideals and real self is happiness. Discrepancy is equal to dissatisfaction. People have tendency to maximize self-concept through their actual self-actualization. Personality development is a continuous process. Role of social influences in the development of self-concept involves positive social conditions leading to a high social concept and self-esteem, which is flexible and open to new experiences. An atmosphere of unconditional positive regard must be created in order to ensure enhancement of people's self-concept. Client-centered therapy that Rogers developed basically attempts to create this condition. Now to let's look at a humanistic approach by Abraham Maslow. He told that attainment of self-actualization is a state where people have reached their own fullest potential. Optimistic and positive view of man who has potentialities for love, joy, and to do or create work. Human beings are considered free to shape their lives and self-actualization. Self-actualization becomes possible by analyzing the motivation that governs ourselves. Characteristics of a healthy person. The humanistic theorists have indicated that healthy personality lies in not mere adjustment to society, but involves a quest to know oneself deeply and to be true to one's own feelings without disguise, and to be oneself in the here and now. According to them, a healthy person is a person who is in the state of physical, mental, and social well being in which disease and infirmity are absent. Healthy becomes aware of themselves, their feelings, and their limits, accept themselves and what they make of their own responsibility, have the courage to be. They experience the here and now and are not trapped. They do not live in the past and dwell in the future through anxious expectation and distorted defenses. Assessment of personality. A formal effort aimed at understanding personality of an individual is termed as personality assessment. Assessment meaning to the procedure used to evaluate or differentiate people on the basis of certain characteristics. The goal of assessment is to understand and predict behavior with minimum error and maximum accuracy. Besides promoting our understanding, and assessment is also useful for diagnosis, training, placement, counseling, and other purposes. Assessment of personality is broadly classified into four different techniques, which are psychometric test, self-report, projective techniques, and behavioral analysis. Self-reportive measures. Self-reportive measures was suggested by Alport and is the best method to assess a person by asking him or her about himself or herself. It is a fairly structured measure based on the theory that requires subjects to give verbal responses using some kind of rating scale. The method requires the subject to objectively report her or his own feeling with response to various items. Responses are accepted at face value, scored in quantitative terms, and interpreted on basis of norms for the test. Example, the MMPI, EPQ, and the 16PF tests, which are direct technique. To start with MMPI, full form, the Minasto Multiphasic Personal Inventory, was mainly developed by Hathaway and McKinley. It was helpful in identifying varieties of psychopathology. There was a revised version of MMPI called MMPI-2, which consisted of 567 statements where the subject had to judge each and every statement as true or false. The test was divided into 10 subscales which seeks to diagnose hypochondriasis, depression, hysteria, psychopathic deviant, masculinity, femininity, paranoia, psychocythania, schizophrenia, mania, and social introversion. In India, Malik and Joshi have developed Jodhpur Multiphasic Personality Inventory, even known as the JMPI. Second one is Einstein Personality Questionnaire, which was developed by Einstein. where he assessed two dimensions of personality at once, called introversion, extraversion, and emotional stability and instability. These dimensions were characterized by 32 personality traits, where later on he added a third dimension called psychotism, which is linked to the psychopathology and sociability. This Einstein personality questionnaire represents a lack of feeling for others, a tough manner of interacting with people, and a tendency to defy social conventions. A person scoring high on this dimension tends to be hostile, egocentric, and antisocial. The third one is 16 personality factor questionnaire, which was developed by Cattell. This test consists of few declarative statements where the subject attempts to respond to a specific situation by choosing a set of given alternatives. It is a test used for the occupational testing, and the age of the subject ranges from high school level to an adult. The disadvantages of self-report measures are social durability and acquisition. Social durability is where the tendency of the respondent to endure items in a socially desirable manner. Acquisition is the tendency of the subject to agree with the items or the question irrespective of their content to check if it is yes or no. Thank you. We will see the rest of the chapter in the next video. Thank you.